buddy. Hello, Leo. Thought we would start early today. I'm ready. Apollo's ready. And there's a lot of messages to come through today. So thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope you're doing well. If you've never been here before, we're going to be taking a look at a monthly forecast, which walks us through the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's a thrill to see all of you. I like to begin with some channeled messages, and I did get quite a few in dreams last night, which is why I wanted to make sure I had more than enough time to talk to you. Let me put down this little gentle being, and then we'll get started. Okay, so today, much to talk about. As I was talking about just a couple moments ago, in dreams and meditations, I feel like you're right on the precipice of some firsts in your life, or some big openings here. So I was shown in dreams and meditations what looked like the first day of work or school, and a lot of times that is just the way that my guides sort of indicate something pivotal that's about to begin. Let's get into our channel messages so that we can really highlight all that's coming through. After this, we'll look at the Celtic Cross, but the reading is beginning now. And again, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and I'm so glad that all of you stopped by today for the reading. Okay, so I think this is going to be an opportunity for many of you to make a connection, because I saw first day sort of energy, new contracts. I do want to highlight the need to look at specifically money matters, but just to do research in general. And there's a chance also to break up some clicks, and we'll talk about this. So I know that many of you that have already graduated from school, have been working for many years, maybe if you're retired, you still have these dreams where it's like the first day of school or the first day of work. So that's what I was given last night. And I didn't recognize a soul, and I didn't recognize the place. So it wasn't my recollection. This was really tuned into some of you. And I'll talk about what it looked like in a minute. But again, this represents to me, when I read for people, new contracts, new beginnings, and a lesson, a great lesson that's unfolding. It can be something karmic in nature. It can be related to a new person that you're meeting. So we're going to take this metaphor and kind of like look and see what the first might be for you. The Fool comes through representing a chance to do it differently. So, imagine if you could go back into the mind, body, and sort of energy of that little kid for the first day of school. You probably would have a lot more fun because you wouldn't care about fitting in. You wouldn't care about the teachers that much. You would just kind of soak in the experience and enjoy some of the freedom that you have as a kid. And maybe wish that you had some of the independence that you had as an adult. But, you would live life differently. And so each time I'm shown a first, kind of approach it like that. Well, what if I could go back and repeat one day in my life? And this is that one day that you're experiencing right now. Here's what you can do to get ready for it and to prepare. The first thing was to do a little bit of research. So what I was picking up on was drama. And a lot of times if you're interviewing for a job, you don't find out about this stuff until you already start. And it's kind of like, okay, oops, I guess I'll deal with this now. So I don't want you to have buyer's remorse, second thoughts, regrets, or any of that. Get the information before you start. In this age of everything being interconnected and online, you can actually Google a lot of this stuff and read, former employees, what they think about the place. You can ask people, talk to the recruiter, say, how long has this been open? If you're working with a recruiter, get your information. And I actually broke it down here a little bit for the different firsts, for the different sort of contracts or experience that you might be going through. Here's some things that you can ask yourself and ask others. The visuals, and some of you are kind of curious what I see when I go through some of this. I saw you at a desk that had everybody's stuff, so you were stepping into a new job or a new experience, but everything was still there. To me, this reads as if someone was told to just pack, and they didn't even pack their desk. So you were actually there cleaning up their desk. And going through even like some food that had gone bad, like their files and this and that. It was a mess. This should have been done beforehand. Let's abstract this because this is a very sort of niche experience. What this means is there could be a situation that you're stepping into where there hasn't been proper preparation for you to be onboarded. So if it is a job, or if it is some sort of even a class that you're taking somewhere, they haven't really prepared. Whoever it is that's stepping into this, it's still a mess from the previous person. In a relationship, this is even more important because it means they haven't finished up their lessons, or there's still some messy sort of emotions between the other person and them, and you're stuck in the middle cleaning up, and that's not really what you want to do. So you're nobody's cleanup person. You're going to raise your hand and ask some questions so you don't have to kind of like set the table for yourself here. So for a job, ask what the previous, like, why did the other person move on? How long has this been open? Are there any challenges? What do you think your biggest challenges is in office? What is the office morale like right now? All of these, ask them. Anything that you think that you need to know about, get that out there first and foremost, and then pay attention to if there's any hesitation or if they're talking in circles, and let that be an indicator and hopefully help you. When it comes to a relationship, what's their track record? Not that that's a sole indication of where they're at now and what this will be like with you, but if they consistently have been having some issues, or if you just found out that they're on the rebound, or they lost someone in their life or whatever, find out what's going on in their life, because there could be some external strings attached and some drama around them. Because what I see in my head, even as I'm talking, is it's kind of like there's some cloudy energy and it's hard for me to see them. So it'll be hard for you to see them as well. So get to know them, take your time, don't rush into a commitment. For a home, if you're purchasing a home or a big ticket item, particularly start with homes and apartments, whether renting, buying, or whatever. I want you to kind of look in and see what happened to the previous person. How long has this place been open or up on the market? Has it been reduced, the price? This actually varies from state to state. In California, you can ask this, and I believe they have to tell you by law. Ask if anything ever happened there that you should know about, like if anyone ever died, if there was any sort of crimes or things of that nature. In California, I'm pretty sure they have to tell you if someone was deceased, died on the property. That's good to know if you're a highly sensitive person like me, because you don't really want to have to clean up that energetic scar that can be there. Find out history. That's really it. And that's why I have the Eight of Pentacles here. The more you know, the better prepared you are, the more you're going to be able to thrive in a situation. I actually enjoy research, especially when I feel like it's going to empower me and get me sort of in the right direction. So there you go there. The next thing was super specific, but I think it's a universal truth that we can all kind of get behind right now. But get it in writing when we're looking at money issues. And also, specifically, we're still in retrograde for another week or so, and we'll be in the shadow for the rest of this month. Even as we're looking, I'm 1 month ahead. We're looking at June rather. Even in June, you want to be mindful of this, because this is what I received for this portion of time. So if you're going to lend money, consider it a gift. Focus more on only parting with what you're comfortable parting with. If there is going to be a contract, I would avoid it if it's friends or family, because it could go in a weird direction. Better to kind of empower them or help support them to find the resource that they need, or just give them the money as a gift. You can sometimes even get a tax write-off for that, depending on the state that you're in. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your homework, like we talked about in the previous slide. There's a lot of different options here. I think in this period of time, you really want to be focusing on doing what's fair, doing what's right, and really understanding the contract. If someone just gives you a handshake and says, we'll take care of it, ask them, what does that mean? Follow it up with an email, get something in writing, assume nothing until it's signed on the dotted line. So Lady Justice is here to make sure that you get the information that you need and that you advocate for yourself, and that you don't unnecessarily sort of get into a contract with somebody without knowing that. Terms of engagement and agreement are important. And finally, what I picked up on, this is kind of flashing back to the pseudo office experience that I was seeing. It looked like you had a couple people that you knew and automatically you went with them. There was an opportunity to bond if you'd stayed behind or if you'd invited the other people to come with. Break up the cliques. Mix and match. Sometimes go with one group, other times go with another. Try to mix them. They don't always mix. But don't always go with the same group, because there was a chance to really grow and learn and maybe make a new friend / someone that could be your ally or support system, especially if you're starting something new. So even if you know someone new or know someone in your existing sort of group at a place that you're starting, get out of your comfort zone. It's going to help. And it might be good to even, if there's sort of a culture where they eat at their desks or something, like for a day or two, kind of just read the room, see what the normal experience is there. And for those of you that are retired or students, it's kind of checking in on what's the sort of patterns here. How can you break it up a little bit? What can you bring to the fold? And also, how can you honor that too? So finding a way to mix and mingle. It's going to be different for every experience, but not just doing what you're comfortable with, but also what might help you make new networking sort of like connections, I think is important here as well. Three of Cups can be both. Mixing and mingling can also be a clique. That's why I put it here, because it has two different connotations. So we want to try to break up the clique if possible. And a clique is just a group that doesn't let other people in. Be inclusive. If you see someone sitting at their table feeling isolated, say, hey, you want to join us for whatever, Starbucks, lunch, or a walk, and see if they say yes. All you can do is extend the offer. All right? So if we just go back to the intro slide on this one, here are the kind of summaries. Again, some sort of a first or an expansive opportunity on the horizon. Research is going to be your best friend, not just for that first, but also for any contracts. When it comes to money, really make sure that you have a handle on it and that you're not lending anything that you feel like you need back immediately. And be more inclusive when it comes to opportunities to engage with new people. Okay, overall exciting. I can't wait to see what the cards are showing when we get into that. Such a pleasure to have all of you here. We're going to begin first with the Celtic Cross. So let me zoom in and let's get started, folks. Welcome. All right. I love that Apollo's getting settled in the background as well. So grab a cup of coffee or tea or water and let's see what the next month and a half has in store for you. There we've got justice here in the deep past, so I love when there's a synchronicity. And we do have something big shifting or changing on the horizon there, which is cool. Very appropriate that we have the swan here. So we have a little bit of a swan song or something interesting going on here with the tower as well. All right, give me one moment here. I'm going to turn on the AC because it got a little bit warm in here, and then we're going to get started.
Hey, buddy.
All right, thanks for your patience. Let's begin here with the Catalyst card. Interesting, there's a little bit of a delay there. Let me know if you're seeing anything. It might just be in the transitions here, so apologies if there is, we'll work with it. All right, starting off with the swan in reverse. So for some of you, this could indicate something coming through where it's basically, I feel like you might be overdue for a change or shift, and the swan is reminding you to enter in or exit out of something with dignity, with grace, with this sense of basically, just sort of feeling like I can do this. Sometimes we overthink things and we kind of make it difficult. And this is saying you can transition through this with this ease, with this grace, with this fluidity is the word that I was looking for. The other thing with this is the word that pops into mind is graduating. And when we look at your crowning card here, we have the 10 of Wands. which I would definitely interpret as an opportunity to graduate, to move on, to move up. And this energy is coming through for you absolutely during this period of time. Let's get into the Celtic Cross, and we'll from time to time go to the Swan and see how it connects. But I want to start with just taking a quick glance at everything. We're going to go straight to the end point, which is Tower reverse, meaning that you know that there's a change that you want to make, and it's all about how are you going to do it. Everything that you're setting up this month is to make a necessary shift or move. We see intuition awakening and lighting up here a little bit, which is also exciting. We see this need to step away from something to hold your ground, to hold your space, which I love as well. And overall, some balance and opportunities opening up. So I think that this is a good month for you overall. So let's go straight to the centermost cards. All right. So at the center, we have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles indicating a period during which you really are being asked to look beyond limitations, sometimes limitations that are in front of you, sometimes even just your own imagination. I did this as a one-card read recently, and I mentioned that sometimes we have this feeling of, all that I see is all that there can be. Like if it's needing to see things in black and white in front of you. And research, development, imagination, they come from places where you want to do something that hasn't been done, that isn't obvious, that isn't in front of you. And so this is letting go of limiting thoughts like this won't happen, or they won't believe me, or it's not possible. So some of the things to release is the fear that you can make it work. Don't accept less than what's really appropriate for you or necessary for you. A lot of times we can hold on to something that doesn't serve us any longer or doesn't give us enough simply because it's there. So sometimes we stay in a relationship or a job simply because we don't want to experience the lack of that. So when it comes to a job, you just have to find another one before you leave, if that's the situation. Sometimes you can't afford to leave. So always get that security net in place before leaving. But this is telling you that when you are willing to imagine more than what is in front of you, then you start to open up the channels to bring that through, okay? The hardest thing, though, is just trusting that this isn't it. This is foundational. It's not the sky. It's not the limit, basically, okay? On top of this, we have a card that's going to help you open new things up. So we have the Ace of Wands here, which is all about basically allowing you to take something from the sort of, I would say, the word that's coming to mind, and it's been in my mind for a bit, is like a liminal space. It's right within reach. It's not quite here in this realm yet, but you know it's possible, and you have to kind of like take that and do something with it. So I see a great idea. I see something that's right on the precipice of development, but there is this sort of internal friction that needs to sort of be dealt with first. So the question that Spirit's giving you is, great, it's giving you confirmation, great idea. Now, what are you going to do to bring this into fruition? What's your plan? How are you going to move this forward? What's your fear? What can you do to kind of like move past that? Put your energy into one thing where you can really see a great deal of movement, and that's going to behoove you. Part of this is going to involve saying no or stepping away from something. So we have Justice here in the deep past in the reverse state. It's okay to say no. It's important to do what's right. Look at how firm and clear and to the point she is when we look at her in the reverse state. She's coming through and just simply saying no, or I need this, or don't do this, or this is wrong. There's no sort of clouds around her. She's clear. Sometimes Justice upright will close its eyes and hope that everything goes, like just follow the rules. I know you know what to do, la, 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 but Justice reverse is saying no, we need to talk, or this needs to be fixed, or this is how this is going to work. I like the direct nature, and leaning into the direct nature of that sort of conversation style can help you out in this period as well. One of the things that you can focus on is balancing time, energy, and resources. Six of Pentacles, there's a lot of hands outstretched asking for your time, energy, or money. I really did talk about this at the beginning. Some of it may not return. So I saw someone who, here's what specifically happened in the dream. There was someone who, I think it was the person that was like let go of that position or something, but they asked someone else for a loan because they said, oh yeah, I'm going to get paid, but they were actually like let go and the money was never going to come through. Again, a specific use case, but in this, what we're seeing is someone may not have the means with which to repay, so you only give what you don't need. See it as a gift. And when it comes to time and energy, if there's someone in your life that consistently can't repay or consistently takes more than they give, and this isn't okay with you, then part of reclaiming balance is saying, I'm going to step away from that now. This isn't working, or this just isn't right. So it's your time to reclaim balance. Good news with the Six of Pentacles. It shows that you have exactly what you need to get done what you want to get done. You just have to make those specific decisions. Not this, this. This isn't enough, this is what I need. And be clear with it, and that's going to help you out. Crowning card, Ten of Wands, reversed. Ten of Wands reversed is telling me that you're very close to completing something. Motivation could be lacking. There could also be too much on your plate. The Ten of Wands is ultimately a card where you're going to be able to do it, but look at how this person succeeded. She's shared the load here with this bull or whatever it is that she's working with. But basically, you don't have to do it all by your own, or by your lonesome, I should say. When the card is reversed, there's typically a desire to sort of delegate a bit. The traditional card is not as elevated as this one. A lot of times it can show that what's happening in this final stretch of the journey. This is more emotionally. We're going to talk about physical in a moment, but emotionally, sometimes you just feel like this, like a little kid in the back of the car. Are we there yet? When is this going to be done? And so sometimes you just have to kind of nurture and parent yourself and say, we'll be fine. Let's push through. It's going to be okay. Here's when you don't want to push through. When your body tells you that something's wrong. So if you have a history of injuries, if it's emotional and it's actually, you're getting to the point where it's creating stress, and then the stress is also creating issues in the body, know your limits. And this card in reverse is pushing back and saying that's too much. I recently had something where my physical therapy backfired on me, and they were pushing me too hard, and I ended up straining or pulling a muscle or tearing a muscle. And I was like, thankfully I stopped before it was too much, but I knew what my limit was, and the person that was trying to help me actually was pushing me too much. Ten of Wands can lead to Ten of Swords if someone's pushy, and the Ten of Wands reverse can be someone pushy with the best intentions. Parents can do this. They can try to push their kids to get a better grade, but they're putting so much pressure on them that the kid kind of breaks under the pressure. Teachers can do the same. PT people, trainers, anyone in your life that's there to kind of push you. Sometimes they don't know when they've pushed you too far. So what you're going to do is say, stop. And that's actually what I did the other day. I just walked out of the session. I'm like, I feel terrible and this needs to stop. And then I canceled all the existing sessions. So I stopped it before it got too far, but I wish I'd even stopped it sooner. So take a page from my book. You can feel it in your body. Like, this is too much. I'm tired. Sometimes you just don't want to be seen as not trying. There's that sort of pleasing side. So especially when it comes to your physical health and well-being, sometimes we're getting pushed too much. And work also is an example of this. Someone's looking at the clock and saying, could you stay another hour or two? Meanwhile, you haven't had anything to eat all day, or you've been working so much that you're like, I'm going to fall asleep, when I drive home or something. No, just say no. Just say, I'll come in early tomorrow. You have more control than you think. So when it comes to matters of health, always take the wheel and drive in the right direction. Okay? Really important. My only regret was not bringing up this sort of no sooner. So again, take a note from me. It's okay to say no. You won't regret that. You can always push yourself a little bit more later, but you can't undo damage if you've been pushed too far. It can be physical, it can be emotional. It can also just be diminishing returns. We've all been there, where you push yourself so much, like you're staying up late, that there's typos in an email, or you've actually made a sloppy mistake on something that you normally wouldn't do. Just get some rest, just take care of yourself, just say no. You're close to finishing. You're right on the precipice of recovery. So for me, the irony is I feel perfect. The fractured foot was fine, and then I created a new injury. So it's not my fault, but that happened, and all I had to do was kind of learn this. know what your body can take and don't do more than that. All right. What we see here as a reward for the tough work that many of you are kind of pushing through right now is friendship, creativity, inspiration, love. We also see that many of you are accomplishing the goals that you set out to do. This is happiness. The Knight of Cups is happiness. And look at this one in particular. We see a little note in the corner, which I love. There could be some good news en route to you. Someone could be sharing appreciation. We also see this kind of wild Mustang in the background. So there could be someone that's coming into your life that recognizes, celebrates, and embraces you being you not fitting in perfectly to, some sort of cookie cutter version of whatever it is that the world wants you to be. So be yourself, be authentic. This is a good month to develop new relationships. Relationships are not just sexual relationships, they're friendships, they're alliances. And that's why I focus with a broad lens, even when we look at that. So I saw that earlier, and that's why I was encouraging you to break up the clicks a little bit. I think that's going to help. All right, let's take a look at what's coming through for you. Your coming through is pretty organized, and I saw that even when I saw you clearing out the desk. So the Hierophant is an auspicious card. It connects you to spirit. It's organized. This is also a very, it's kind of like a non-traditional Hierophant. Look at how young he is. And look at how there's no sort of like teacher versus disciples. There's no gatekeeper on this card. So it's basically showing you as a leader, as a sort of fresh face. And that can be really refreshing. So embrace your organizational skills and be willing to try something new. As long as you have done your research and you're organized, you have a chance of setting that into motion, and some cool things can happen with respect to that. Okay? Other things with the Hierophant, there may be a necessary sort of checklist of things that you have to do. So in order to, get approval for, we talked about like buying a house or big ticket item, there might be a loan or a sort of like, what do you call it? But basically like an application process, same thing for a job. So there may be a certain hoop that you have to jump through, but I see that you're able to do that. And then hopefully there's some more independence on the horizon for you. In the environment, more spiritual development coming through and more spiritual acuity coming through in the sort of energy of the High Priestess. So this is kind of interesting because these are both really good cards here, and they can actually represent partnerships. This is a spiritual teacher, and this is just a spiritual person. You're coming through with this teacher energy and the spirituality. You're attracting someone who, this could be a manifested partnership. So this is you, this is your skill and your ability to pull in someone. This is who they are, but this is also who they are. So I see someone who truly sees, recognizes, and understands you. This could be really exciting. Again, especially if it's a new boss or a new friend, even more so if this is romantic, because you're not going to have to do as much explaining. You're not going to have to put up a front or a facade of who you are. It could just be authentic. And that's, I hope, what we're all striving to find in relationships. So that's exciting. People also around you could be very good at helping you be connected to the next big thing. So this can be a mover and a shaker. If you're an actor, this could be having like a really good manager or representation. In business, it could be a boss. In your real life, it could be a partner, just, someone who gets who you are, and they also know how to help you to the next level. So I see a great conduit, but I also see someone reflecting your energy, because this is you. And this is even elevated. This is 5, this is 2. So you've actually done a lot of work, and you're pulling in someone that's right on par with you, but I would say don't underestimate your value. The Hierophant represents a little bit of heightened energy from the High Priestess. So you're in a really good spot right now. Don't underestimate yourself. This card is great for creativity. It's great for leadership. It's great for manifestation. Think in a higher light. Think of the possibilities, not of the limits. It's basically the antithesis of this. This is showing like fences, and this is, in fact, we even see in some decks you'll see it, but here she's on a balcony. So there's a fence of sorts there. There's a block. So this is the antithesis of that. She's closed her eyes and she's looking beyond. In fact, she's seeing through her eyes. There you can, or the sort of eyelids. She's looking beyond, and she's looking at the horizon. And that's really where you want to focus, is that sort of blue sky energy. Okay? Looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities, who's the boss is basically what this card is saying. There could be someone in your life that's testing you, testing, especially this. They want to know, like, if no means no, if you truly are committed to something, if you stand for what you say you're going to stand for. This is someone that's trying to take the reins from you or is trying to test your authority. This is also an opportunity for some of you who are presented with a leadership opportunity to just say, yeah, I can do it. So there could just be disbelief. There could be someone who's coming through and just wondering how committed you are or how strong you are as a leader. And this is your chance to show that you are not someone to be taken for granted and, again, not someone to be underestimated. So I like that. By the way, I can see that there's a little jittering too with the visuals, so just bear with me. I'll fix it after the broadcast, but it looks like you can hear me, and it only looks like it's like a quarter of a second, so we won't worry about it. It's Mercury retrograde, right? There's always something going on in retrograde. All right, when I'm looking at your outcome card, we have the Tower, and the Tower in reverse is the only way that I really want to see the Tower come through if it's the outcome, because it tells you a few things. First and foremost, you can see it coming. Secondly, you have a choice in the matter. You really always do with the Tower, but especially when it's reversed. And the most important thing with this Tower reverse is it's clearing. And I kind of saw that when I was tuning into the visual where you were at the desk and you were having to sort through stuff. So I feel like there's some necessary clearing and cleaning that needs to happen. What I wrote in the card, and I think I forgot to read, so I'm going to say it right now, is you don't have to do all of that cleaning up. If you ask proper questions, if you delegate, if you just highlight and say, hey, this isn't ready yet, call me in when it is, or I'm happy to start, but you have to clean this spot for me. That's not part of the agreement. Hold people to the agreement and make sure that they're doing what they need to do in order to make this an inviting environment for you, okay? So knowing your limits. But ultimately, I like this because we see a clearing. And when we look at the opportunity card, it's a chance for you to go in a different direction. Sometimes the Tower comes through so that you are freed to move on, to meet someone else, to get something better. And so the only way that that's going to happen is if the universe kind of pushes you into a different path. Since you can see it coming, you can just decide to do it yourself. Because usually you know what this is. Whether it's asking for something, saying no to someone, stepping away from something, you can see it a mile away. For the rest of you, this is basically saying that this cycle is changing. This energy of not having enough, it's already shifted. So let's just imagine that the glass ceiling has shattered with this, and it's all blue sky and it's all opportunity, and that's kind of where you want to put your mind and energy right now. Okay, we're going to expand this, and we're going to take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to begin first with the, not with wealth, but with health. The health card is mind, body, and spirit. As the disclaimer says here, I'm not a substitute for your therapist, for your financial advisor, or for anything that's going on in your body like a doctor. But I will help you see energetic pathways that can help open up health, wealth, love, and destiny for you. And it's up to you to kind of work with the other experts in your life as need be. All right, let's look at health. For health, we have Lakshmi coming through, prosperity. Oh, we like that. I'll take it in health or wealth, and a lot of times these two are connected. So Lakshmi is coming through to help you find a more prosperous, more supportive environment. Since she was reversed, and since the Tower is reversed, one of the things that's coming through here is there might be an opportunity for many of you to find a place where you feel like I can grow. You know, I use the metaphor of potted plants. There comes a point where every potted plant outgrows the pot that it's in, and you have to upgrade. And so for many of you, that could be part of this, is that in order for you to achieve that prosperity, you need to upgrade your environment. So maybe it's moving to a new apartment, maybe it's getting a new job, maybe it's also changing up the networking, who you're hanging out with, all of that. There's a lot of environmental factors here. Lakshmi is saying, think about this growing and expanding, and imagine that the Tower is clearing space for that to happen. Every spring, a farmer has to sort of clear out the land from the year before. I mean, they do it in the fall, but they also do it in the spring. You have to keep turning over the soil. And so sometimes that's all the Tower is like taking a shovel and breaking up It's even like if you have scar tissue in in an injury, you have to break up the scar tissue. So we might be moving through an emotional wound. We might be moving through something in the environment that's blocking us. There could also be a cognitive block. And Lakshmi is saying once that's removed, prosperity comes through. Really good energy, really good goddess to come through here. So let's take a look at where you can kind of open this up with respect to health here. All right. First and foremost, if you're working too much and not getting enough, this is not sustainable. It ends up burning you out. So wherever the burnout energy exists, this is really coming through and saying enough with that. We also see just the ability to not do everything for everyone all the time. So do what you can, do what you want. If there's too much that's coming through at some point, saying no is going to be your best friend. We actually have four cards that are showing a lack of balance. Justice has scales. Six of Pentacles traditionally has scales. This in reverse can represent flipping upside down. The Tower can be a fall. So for some of you, there's a chance to slow down a little bit to avoid a misstep, to avoid possibly a balance issue, whether it's your money or even just losing balance and tripping and falling. It can be literal or metaphorical. I want you to pull back a little bit, take a deep breath, and really kind of read the room, look at the landscape, also tune into yourself and think, what is it how did I get here? What do I want? The High Priestess is reflective. So is he, by the way, the Hierophant. He's also having a good time with it. He's kind of able not to so much like laugh at himself, but just to kind of have a sense of humor about life and the way that things work out. Oftentimes it's exactly how it needs to be, but if you can have a sense of humor, it can help a lot. And if you haven't laughed lately, maybe doing something that brings some joy in your life. I get it. We've all been through some challenges over the past few years. It's not always something where it's easy to laugh, but having some joy. It doesn't have to be ha sort of funny sort of thing. It can just be someone that brings a smile to your face, something that also brings joy to you, whether it's reading, writing, gardening, painting, learning, anything in your life that allows for you to get that sense of joy. It's going to be so important right now. Some of you are stepping out on your own as well and just needing to have more freedom. So that's also coming through with the Chariot. Other than that, things are looking good. It is a chance to break a cycle. So if you don't like something, change it up. This is a time to really allow for that to come through. Okay, good messages overall with health. And this is telling me that change is possible and you're driving the change if you're engaged enough to do that. Okay? I'm looking at Enzo. Yes, if you need a clown, that helps too. Whatever it takes. It can be music, it can be television, just something to kind of like take you into a different space. All right, now we're going to look at wealth. It feels like wealth and health are connected. So the fact that Lakshmi, which I would normally kind of connect with money, came through for health, she might be saying, for some of you, a change of job or educational sort of trajectory, or purpose for those of you that are retired. Whatever it is that you're doing and you feel like this is kind of like what I'm waking up to do, it's your job, but sort of your calling. I like that. It's more empowered, right? So whatever your calling is, maybe you're going to fine tune it and make sure that you're closer and more directly connected to that calling. All right, let's look at your job. Let's look at your money and let's see what's coming through here. All right, rabbit and fox. All right, these are two interesting totems. The rabbit is abundance, and the rabbit I would connect to the Queen of Pentacles. The fox is usually connected to Seven of Swords and Five of Swords. Nobody's fool. He can see through things. That's why he appears on that, sly as a fox. So I think it's really, it's positive, and there's like a little semicolon, but don't forget about this. There's a caveat attached to it. So I think there's an opportunity opening up, but you have both the rabbit and the fox. The rabbit is abundance and money. The fox is a little hidden piece in the legal language, a little string attached, a little surprise. So get ahead of that fox. The rabbit can usually outrun the fox. But that's what you need to do, is get a couple steps ahead of the fox, outfox the fox. You are the fox too. So two foxes, you can't pull anything over them. And I just want you to ask questions and be smart about new financial sort of endeavors. All right, specifically looking at the money and the exchange of time and energy, the importance here is you're going to find your balance. This is a historical sort of tendency to give more than you get. And even if you're doing something like a nonprofit, you still need to have enough to cover overhead and everything. So this isn't sustainable. This is. This would be the goal for a nonprofit, because the 5 of Pentacles would cover the nonprofit. The 6 of Pentacles will allow for growth and development. The 4 of Pentacles is not enough. You're in the red. So we want to have more than enough so you can pay your bills, you can pay your taxes, you can have a little bit extra, you can start to grow. You need to always be at the 6 of Pentacles for growth. Anything less, well, specifically the 5 and 4 won't do. 3, you're investing in your future through education. 2, you're finding balance. 1, you're putting something in it. But this is the one where the magic happens, because everything after this is growth. So that's what you want to kind of give yourself a pat on the back and think, I'm right on the precipice of growth and expansion. It may have been this for the last week, year, or decade, but this is where I'm at now, and this is where I'm going to focus. You have a good idea. Protect it. Because I'm getting the fox here, if there's something where intellectual property is a concern, protect it legally. Really be mindful of who you engage with, okay? Travel could be really advantageous to the next step in your career. This is a move. Usually I would read like the world is that, but definitely 10 of Wands in the Tower. This could actually be a move for the better. I would have preferred the cards flipped, but what's happening here for some of you is good news, change, and now the dust is settling. So I think it's worth it, but I really want you to sort out how you're going to make this move or change so that you're not discombobulated, so that you have your feet on the ground like we see here with the Hierophant, and that you can see that you are a powerful conductor. You're driving the car here. These are all power cards. This one even is a power card, but it doesn't feel like it. So that's the most important thing, is owning your power, seeing the purpose, not getting sort of overwhelmed, okay? Let me see if there's anything else that I want to focus on here. Relationships are really going to be pivotal in opening up new doors. If there's been a door that's shut, it's going to open now. There's some surprises here on the horizon. It's almost as if the universe doesn't want you to see just everything just yet. So move through this with grace. Imagine that there's a lot of eyeballs on you. And what's going to happen is, as you navigate through all of these opportunities and this change, someone sees this and recognizes that and celebrates that as well. So we see a lot of transparency and celebration of the true, authentic you, if you're willing and ready to kind of put that out there, okay? I think that's about it. I like the trajectory that you're headed in. A lot of creative energy out there. So for my artists, we're getting encouragement here. Do something different. Do something bold. Make sure that you have a plan at the end of the day. This isn't a time to wing it. You don't want to wing the tower. You definitely want to plan with that. Okay, and that's that. Let's move on to love and relationships. So on this one, we have clear your energy. So I would say also, this is not just about you. This was about stepping into the messy desk, and the messy desk can be a messy relationship or a messy engagement. So Lord Ganesha here is kind of clearing things with magic, but with you, what you're going to be doing is asking some questions, figuring out what's going on, making sure that that desk is clear and clean for you when you arrive. Let's specifically look at those in a loving relationship, those seeking a relationship, and those that are single and happy. So for those of you that are already in a relationship, here's what we see. One thing, okay, it's not an even split, and it's not actually, there's a little bit of overlap because it would normally be like 60-30. We almost had something that would make sense, but there's efficiencies and opportunities for both parties to get closer to the center. If this person pulls back a little bit, it's a 5. If this one gives a little bit more, it's a 5. So we're close, but there's a pentacle that's floating between the two that makes it out of balance a little bit. But 6 and 4 I'll take. It's just showing one party doing a lot, and the other party maybe not putting as much out there. So holding back a little bit, not necessarily communicating as much as they should. We've still got a 10 between the two. So, but I would prefer it to be a little bit more balanced. But perfect relationships, it doesn't exist. There's always going to be someone who's dealing with something. So what you would want to focus on this month is communicating needs, desires, limits, holding space for the other person. And if you have a little bit extra to give, you can give a little bit extra if you want to. But that's what we see as a balancing act between the two of you. Don't push someone. We talked about the physical trainer experience I had. If someone's not ready to make a change, if they're not ready to do something, you just kind of lay it out there in front of them. You can keep laying it out there in front of them, but you don't have to tell them to do it. Eventually, they'll embrace it, but they're going to do it because they want to, and they may come back and say, thank you. Thanks for giving me space and time to do it. I've just been busy. And it'll strengthen it, because then you're not coming in as like a mom or dad figure for them. You're just coming in as an advocate and a support person. You can also just ask, what can I do to support you, right? For those of you where this actually is a swan song, you can go one of two ways. We have two outcomes here. It can be a positive energy, or it can be a chaotic one. Let's choose this one. The person's going to reflect what you have to offer. If there's a difficult negotiation, you're quitting a job, or you're getting a divorce or whatever, let's not go for acrimonious. Let's try to go for positive and, at the very least, peaceful. And say what you need to say, leave. Don't throw any barbs out there. If you go in it with a sort of calm, peaceful, kind, productive, or if you can even help de-escalate, that's basically what we're seeing with this swan. It's going to give what it gets. So try to give the most positive energy possible, whether you're staying or leaving. That holds true. You're also seeing someone here that is reflecting you. And so if there's some things going on here, it's probably some stuff that's also mirrored in your own life. So working on yourself will help also your partner out. I do think there's a pretty good match for those of you that have been partnered up. But the sort of interesting thing here is there's been a question in the past, should you stay, should you go, for some of you? And this is sort of like the make it or break it thing. Like if you're really going to stay, then commit to it. And if not, then move on and allow for something else to come in. It's really how committed you are. You can't force someone to feel what you feel. You can't force them to stay if they don't want to stay. And you can't force yourself to feel something you don't feel. So it's really getting in touch with yourself, which is why the High Priestess is here. It's the work you need to do. It's the work that they need to do. And then the outcome choice is your own, basically. If something clears, it's clearing for the best possible reason, though. Okay, if it's like exiting out of your life. Control issues are coming up. That's why it could be a little bit difficult for those that are parting rather than coupling. But either way, these two cards are pretty powerful, and as is this. So knowing that you have an ability to push out energy and that's going to affect the other person, you can kind of embrace these two, which very heart-centric, very open-minded, and very able to manifest. And that's where I would advise to go. All right, if you are single and looking for love, yes, it can come through. We've got a Knight of Cups. It could be a water sign. I'm seeing a deep spiritual connection, possibly even something from your recent past or your past lives. We definitely see karmic patterns coming through. The challenge here is, it feels like one person might be in the middle of a life change. So, and that's the way Spirit wants me to put it, is life change. So it could be a really significant and celebratory moment where something good is happening. It could be a really challenging moment. There could actually be a physical move, but I got the words life change. They need to finish their life change moment, graduate from that, and then it feels pretty good. You can help support them, but let them clean their desk, clean their karma, clean the garbage first, so that you're not the person that's taking out the trash. We don't want that to happen, okay? But I do like how they'll eventually show up. Let the dust settle. Take your time. Enjoy the process of getting to know one another. There's no rush, at least not over the next 6 weeks, okay? For those of you that are single and happy, you have a chance to manifest a new job, manifest a new relationship, manifest something that's beyond your current limits, and it's exciting. The cool thing here is that I actually feel, as I'm looking at this, the Hierophant/High Priestess energy is manifesting the Tower. Towers can be good. We don't want to always be afraid of the Tower. It's just change. If the card was titled Transformation and had a butterfly, you'd all be applauding every time the butterfly came through. Even though the butterfly had to go through a metamorphosis and the caterpillar had to rearrange and have a sort of death of sorts and then be reborn. That's all it is. Something ending, something beginning. So let's just imagine you're driving the change. And if you're driving the change, you're going to get behind this, and then you're the butterfly. So be the butterfly this month, okay? Don't fear change, embrace it. And really, every relationship can go through that butterfly energy. And there's a butterfly on this card, a little monarch in the corner. Actually, a few of them if we look at this. So we have, we have a squirrel that's trying to make sense of what's going on, has little acorns here, but look at all the butterflies, change for the better. So yes, sometimes both death and transformation can be seen as that transformative energy. The only difference with the Tower is you don't necessarily have to go through. It's not the death card, but sometimes it feels the same as you're still here, but you've changed. You're going to be kind of wearing a different energy when you come out of the Tower. So embrace it as a different sort of thing, but just, again, you're driving, and when you're doing that, there's a lot of power behind that. All right, Destiny, what's your trajectory right now? Well, everything that I was just kind of rambling on about there, the self-initiation. This is you saying, oops, I want to do this, therefore I'm going to do this. And you're not freaking out because you called this into your life. So the self-initiation is, look at all the beautiful, it's coming from, I see solar plexus energy, I see second chakra. So we see expression and we see power coming through on this one. You can do this. And a lot of times we do know what we're getting into on some levels. So when you decide to have a kid, when you decide to rescue, adopt a pet, when you decide to go to college, when you decide to retire, these are all big things. They're self-initiations. I choose to do this. You know, but you also know that it's going to be more than you imagined. So it's this sweeping, joyful, euphoric energy, and it's also this chaotic, dusty, oh my God, what did I just do? energy. When the dust settles, like a solar system, there'll be order. It'll be okay. So trust in yourself to create that order again, and don't get ahead of yourself too much. All right, we're going to look at sun, rising, and moon messages next, and see what the universe has to bring in for all of you. Okay, we got 2 for the moon. Let's begin first with sun sign messages. Ace of Pentacles, love it, love it. Okay, so not only are you going to be okay, but if we take this and add it to this, it's growth, it's recovery, it's rebounding, it's good. So not only do you have more than enough, you're actually going to have way more than enough by the time the month is over. Now, enough what, you're saying, Nicholas? Enough of what you need to thrive. So whether that's love, support, money, energy, knowledge, you're going to have more than enough. You're going to apply the more than enough to create more abundance in other parts, because pentacles aren't just coins in your bank. They are all of the things I just mentioned. You have an idea here already. Now you have someone who's interested in that idea, or you have a way to put that into motion. You've got 2 aces. It's good. Like the plane behind me, it's about getting things moving. And like the bulb that we see here, it's important to take care of it, nourish it, make sure that there's room, make sure that the soil's good. So you're going to make sure that your dream gets the nourishment, the attention, the focus that it deserves. You're going to pick one thing that's really important and put your energy behind it. And there's a good chance that someone else is going to be interested in that. These 2 cards equal a proposal. Doesn't have to be in love, but this is a love-related card, and this is someone that's interested in you. So in business, that means that they love what you have to offer. In a friendship, it means someone really wants to be around you and they want to have a deeper relationship. In love, this is someone saying, let's get serious. For yourself, you could also just be looking at what you're doing in your life and you're invested in it. It's that. The Ace of Pentacles is probably one of my favorite aces because it can go in so many directions. It's not just money. It can be contracts and love too. So it's exciting, and it's really now up to you what you want to do with this new beginning. This first. You got a couple firsts because you got the 2 aces, and I'm really excited for you. So definitely keep me posted in the comments as we get into the next month, how things are kind of winding up for all of you. Moving on to Rising and Ascendant. Coming out of your shell, we have the Hermit card in reverse. This Hermit's pretty cool because we see that they don't need the lantern. They have the light within them. And also, it's almost as if they're levitating here, especially if you look at it from back here. So don't hold yourself back. Don't be afraid to be in a sort of social situation. Some of you might have, social anxiety, but let's say you have to make a presentation or you have to talk to someone and you either look up to them or you're just intimidated or whatever. You're going to be fine. This is a learned card. This is like the wizard or sorceress in the deck. So the hermit has their homework done, and that's something I've been saying the whole reading today. So if you're rising and ascendant, you've got it. You've got your homework under control. You know what you need to do. It's just kind of opening the mouth and allowing the heart to sort of infuse the words with what you already know. Just open up. You'll be okay. Don't mute your light. Don't be self-deprecating either, because the hermit has the light, has the power, has the insight, but usually has a hard time showing it. When it's reversed, it's saying enough with that. It's okay to show who you are, what you can do. And maybe you're going to surprise people in a really positive way. All right. Moon card. We got 2. Let's read the presenting issue first, or presenting opportunity. So we have the King of Swords here. This is one of the cooler King of Swords because he doesn't rely on one channel or one way of communicating. We have all the different ways and modes of communication around him. What he's going to do is balance out, find the balance in his life and say, this is where I want to focus. This is what's right to me, and choose to go in that direction. It's a great time to talk to other people. People are interested in what you have to say. It's a great time to write things down. It's a great time to begin new things in your life. Okay? To me, this is auspicious for all of you because there really was nary a bad card in that sun, rising, and moon moment. All right, before I get into the next piece, if you like what you see here, remember to hit like and subscribe. It helps with channel growth. You can also follow me across social media. And stick around here because we're going to be looking at the final card in just a moment. If you do follow me on social media or even here, just remember I don't give private readings and I don't use direct messages for business. If it's someone doing that, it's not me. Okay, you can always go to my website as well for more information. And thank you in advance to everybody that gave supers and is about to do that. We're going to focus now on the meditation. And today's meditation, I'd really like to bring to this energy of expansion. Let's imagine, if you will, that it's a brand new day that's dawning, and close your eyes first and just tune into your body. Taking your time to really breathe as deeply as possible, doing this as many times as you need to with each exhale, feeling that you are clearing, opening, pushing out the limits in your life, in relationships, in resources, and then you're creating more space so that all of those little seeds that want to come in of opportunity, of inspiration, of growth, they have more space and they have more opportunity to basically plant those roots. Allowing yourself to just breathe and see that, I'd like you to focus now on the rising sun and imagine that you could capture one ray of sunlight in your hand and it's kind of swirling around like an Ace of Pentacles. Place that ray of sunshine in your heart and set an intention. Allow this now to be a spotlight that's going to open up a path for you to accomplish and to create something that you want to create in your life. Just breathe and see that spotlight from your heart shining on a bright tomorrow. Take a few deep breaths and allow for that beautiful light from your heart space to circulate through your body, through your mind, through your spirit, and allow for a spotlight to be sent out to help pull in, almost like a tractor beam, whatever it is that you wish to have in your life. Love, abundance, anything that you're really trying to bring through. Imagine that it can come through in the highest form as soon as possible and that you're open to receive it. I think just as important is that you see your worth and that you see your capability to co-create this. All right, focus now, if you will, on the final question that you have for me. On the next exhale, if you haven't done so already, please open your eyes. And now just allow for the universe to step in and give us some clarity on whatever question it is that you might have. All right, so you are worthy is what this card is basically saying. And things can be whatever you want them to be. The Eight of Swords, she's getting comfortable with ambiguity. So this is the true her, this is the fear. The anxiety is I'm not enough, or I can't see this so I can't control it. Because we had the High Priestess and the Hierophant and the Hermit, all empowered and highly spiritual cards coming through, she's starting to see that what's in front of her isn't everything. So the universe wants you to see your value, and it's encouraging you to be comfortable with a certain degree of ambiguity, because just like the sun rises every day and we can start to see things we couldn't before it rises or before it comes up. It's the same thing in life. Before there's a sunrise, that doesn't mean that the absence of details means that there's nothing out there. You just have to sort of allow for everything to come into focus, all right? Ask questions if you don't have the clarity that you need. Imagine new possibilities if people around you are lacking that imagination. And if you feel like you're not being seen, heard, or appreciated, raise your hand, because it's time for you to be seen. You're worthy, okay? And those are the messages there. All right, give me a moment here, and I'm going to just give a little bit of gratitude to everybody that showed up. For those of you that it's your first time here, welcome. I hope you do decide to subscribe and hopefully join me for future readings. For those of you that are existing members, and I see a bunch here with all the green text, thank you so much. It's good to have you here. Welcome back. If you're brand new and you just joined, I'm going to welcome you right now, and give me just a moment here. It looks like we had a couple of new members join this morning. Deborah and Jaya, thank you so much for joining and rejoining. It's good to have both of you here. And let's see, I'm not sure if we had any super stickers, but if we did, I will say thanks right now. Looks like we got one. So thank you so much, Lori. Appreciate your presence here, and it's an honor to have you here. I noticed that we have a few members as well. Let's see, Paula, Pearl, who else do we have? Diane, Sapo, Sherry, Dark Shadows, Jill, and I might have missed someone, but those are the main ones that I'm seeing right now. Thank you guys so much for being a part of today's presentation. Sending you infinite love and appreciation, wishing you the best and most abundant month ahead. And remember that there's a positive change that you are, what? You're behind the wheel driving and informing. So continue to co-create, focus on the positive, focus on the possibilities, and keep me posted and let me know what good things are coming through in the month ahead. All right, see you soon. I'll be back again tomorrow and again on Sunday. Until then, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.